Okay, great. Okay, well, welcome to our homeschooling PPLD resources presentation. You're going to learn a ton about what the library has to offer that can help you in your educational journey. We appreciate your spending a little bit of time with us. My name is Joy Fleischacker, and I'm the homeschool ERC librarian. And I could be your contact point for any questions you have. I'd like to also introduce Betty McDonald, who also is part of Family and Children's Services, and Michaela Fortune, who is part of our Young Adult Services, and they're going to be providing some information as well. And Shelby is our producer today, and she'll be monitoring the chat. Again, you can put questions in the chat as they come up, and we can either address them while we're going or at the end. And to get started, I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, is that showing? Let me just see. Okay, okay, great. Okay, so again, welcome, and we're happy that you're able to come today. Here is the order of events. First, we're going to do sort of a broad overview of our homeschool programs and resources we have, particularly for homeschoolers. And then we're going to dive a little bit more into our online resources that we think you will find useful. So first, I'm going to start with some programs that we offer and general resources. And I just did want to mention that we do have several district-wide programs throughout the year, and hopefully these will be returning to in-person events. We're never 100% sure, but just to give you a quick overview, we do a science fair in February, and that will invite kids from like K through high school to put together a science project and show it to other families and other science-minded people in the community. It's not a judged affair. It's just an exhibit. So really families can approach that however they like. And that takes place in February at Library 21C. We do have an art show in April at East Library. So hopefully we'll be getting some great artwork for that soon, the last week of March. We do an annual resource fair at Library 21C, and we are going to be moving that to April this year to give people a little more time for planning for the fall. So there'll be more information about that. We've also done a curriculum swap usually in June, and a game day during the summer. And again, these are just events to let people gather together, share their experiences, maybe learn a little something. And we do have monthly programs, usually, hopefully returning back in January to programs scheduled throughout the district. So that's sort of our general homeschool programs. I do want to mention the Educational Resource Center.
So are you going through your slides right now? Because it's just showing the first slide.
Why would it do that? Did that advance?
Yes.
Okay. So that's what I was just talking about. Thank you for letting me know. And again, I was just going to tell a little bit about the Educational Resource Center, which is a facility located at East Library. And right now it's available on a reservation only basis, but you can reserve it for your family. And at this point, we are bringing materials into you, but we are hoping to open that up a little bit more. One of the ERCs does have computer desktops in there with some great educational software. And just to give you an example of some of the things we have that you can use there, we do have microscopes with prepared slides. We do have owl pellets that you can dissect with your family. And that's a really fun and interesting process. You can kind of pick it apart and identify what you find inside. We have Cubelets, which is like a robotics, a very easy robotics learning tool. You can kind of build things and learn about the purpose of robots. So that's kind of cool. Okay, and now I'm going to take you to look at a couple of, okay. Okay, is that sharing now? Okay, so this is our website, PPLD.org. And I do want to show you a few of the resources that we have available for you. If you hover over services, that's where many of the gems are hidden. And you click on the Homeschool Hub, it's going to take you to the landing page where a lot of our homeschool resources are housed or information about them. And right now there is actually a video posted there with a very great overview of what homeschooling is, how to get started. And then there's a panel of parents who discuss different styles and how they apply to their own family. So you can access that right there. It's really informative. I want to show you, if you click on the resources tab here, it's going to take you to our what we call LibGuides, which are just ways that we organize information about different subjects. And the Homeschool Hub Information and Resources LibGuide is really a very big resource list that includes both articles from websites, community organizations, all kinds of information and opportunities for local families. And certainly you can explore this on your own, but I do want to show you just how to navigate a little bit. Under our Homeschool Basics tab, each of these tabs along the top, you need to click on to access that information. So this kind of lists general articles and websites that provide information about homeschooling. Our Getting Started tab has articles that are more oriented to how to get started. We do have a section on Colorado homeschool law, and that's going to go through what the requirements are, how you notify your school system that you're homeschooling. I do want to show you also, we have a very big list of different curriculum resources that we've come across. It's a big variety, written from all types of backgrounds and philosophies. But one thing I want to point out to you is the Kathy Duffy reviews. If you click on that, this website does a wonderful job of reviewing all sorts of different curriculum that publishers put out. So it's a great place for getting started. I believe you could even search by subject in different ages. Now I'm just going to move on to academics and academic support, these tabs on the left. And on this first page are PPLD homework and research help. So here's where you will be able to link to some of the resources that are going to be brought up today. There's also different ways to get to it through the website. But I do want to show you, we have a few different tabs you might want to browse. One is educational websites, which again are locations you can go to find information and sometimes interactive videos, activities, all kinds of things. Another big thing that I know people have questions about are testing and evaluations. And these are required, I believe it's in the odd grade years. So this is going to tell you where you can get those tests or who you can get to give them to your children. And another really useful tab here is our tutors link. And these are tutors who serve homeschoolers. Some of them are specialized, like the Children's Literacy Center. There are some more geared towards children with learning differences. So it's a great resource to browse through if you're looking for that support. The next section down, local homeschool programs. These are local schools that do offer programs to homeschoolers. They're usually something that you might do concurrent with regular school. It might be an enrichment program. So that's a great place to look for that sort of thing. And then just kind of browsing down. For extracurricular, we have a big list of kind of great field trip ideas if you're looking to take your family out for an educational experience. This tab is lessons, clubs, group activities. So again, if you're looking for things beyond the day-to-day curriculum to get involved with, this is a great place to start. Some of the groups included here are homeschool specific. So, you know, if you look in science and technology, there is like a homeschool science Olympiad group, and you can find that information here. So again, tons of information here. And now I'm going to go back to the website, take a shortcut. And I just want to show you a couple more quick things. Again, under our services tab, if you go to Library of Things, there's a lot of interesting opportunities here that I want to make sure you know about. PPLD bundles, if you click on that, you get a form that you can fill out and request materials on a certain subject. And you can do this like, you know, if you have like a 5-year-old who loves trucks, or if you're looking for something more in depth, you can fill out this form and have a librarian or a children's associate help you find those materials. Just going down, the discovery kits are something that are fairly new. We are circulating those out of the locations listed here right now. And these were sort of inspired by what we have. Some of these were inspired by what we have in the Educational Resource Center. So there's Cubelets, which is that robot activity. There's a mouse coding activity. So you can visit this part of the site to see which of those are available, and you can actually borrow those and take them home to use with your family. And I did want to show you as well the Pikes Peak Culture Pass. If you click on that, we have an agreement with several of our community partners where you can reserve a free pass to go visit kind of museums and educational centers. And you would have to kind of go in and see what's available for the day you want. But here are some of the partners that you can access those for. So that's kind of a good thing to know about. Okay, and I'm going to go back again to services, and I'm going to click on maker spaces. And I just wanted you I wanted to make sure that you knew that we had maker spaces across the district. And these are areas where you can utilize certain equipment like 3D printers, or they may have video equipment. There are video studios and a sound studio. So each makerspace is a little bit different, and you can click on these different icons to find out about them. Okay, and now I'm just going to go back to the Homeschool Hub for just one quick minute. And I did want to make sure that you saw our newsletters tab here. And we do a print publication 4 times a year, and it's called Homeschool Connections. The current issue is about information literacy. And I just want to, you can access it online. Each of these issues has a different focus, a topic that might be of interest to your family. And it's going to bring in all kinds of resources that are either outside our organization or within. And there's always a good book list and just different things for you to explore, activities, all kinds of fun stuff. And then if you look below this box right here, you can click to sign up for our homeschool book list, which is a monthly e-blast, just letting you know about some new resources that we think you might find kind of fun and interesting. And our homeschool programs, which goes out monthly, and it's going to highlight different homeschool activities that are happening across the district each month, and just give you a heads up about what's happening there. So that's just some of our basic resources that we have. And I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to turn over to Betty.
Okay, thank you, Joy. And I am going to share my screen now. Okay. All right. I was hoping to show you some resources that elementary students might find helpful. And I am going to first show you, you can search anything in the search box as long as you choose PPLD.org. And I will do that in a moment, but I just wanted to show you PPLD Kids in case you don't know where that lives. It's under services as well. And this is just a sort of a fun layout for kids to explore. There's homework and databases. Here is where I'm going to be. And all these are good for kids. And this is Help Now, which is what I'm going to go into. And you could put this just Help Now in the search box on PPLD.org. And that would be another way to find this database. It was also on the Homeschool LibGuide. I noticed that Joy has that available there. So we keep it everywhere. So let's go in there. There's also a couple videos here. One's in Spanish, one's in English about how to use Brainfuse Help Now. So those are always available. Well, let's go in there. In fact, I will, trying to move the people's faces here. All right, Brainfuse Help Now. What is this? This is a place where your students at home can connect with a live tutor free online. You would log in with your library card and your PIN to get this far. I was already logged in. So for starters, here is the live tutoring. Now, live tutoring takes place every day from 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. And it's important to note, very first thing is that you need to make an account over here. This is a separate account. And so let's just go into there and I can show you how easy it is to have your student make an account. I'm going to just click on sign up. And I want to show you that all that's going to be required for an account is a username, a password, and a hint is always nice. And that's all that you do for an account. There's no cell phones or emails being exchanged. And the tutoring takes place on this platform. I'm just putting in my fake number here. This is my login for Brainfuse. Okay, now the reason you need an account is so that you can keep the tutoring sessions that your child has. And you would need it to do many other things on this site. But if you wanted to refer back to something, you would need an account for that information to be available. So let's just go into live tutoring. This is an amazing resource when you think that it goes from kindergarten all the way up to college. I don't know why it doesn't want to go down to college, but it's true. And so to tutor, you would click a grade, and there are the subjects for third grader to be tutored. Let me go into math. And if you needed Spanish, you would just check the Spanish and get live help. Now, this is a person that brings up a whiteboard. All the tutors are experts in their field. They're very, very well vetted for this job. And again, like I said, it takes place on this platform. So that is live tutoring. And the next thing is a writing lab where you could upload a paper and 24 hours later, there would be some suggestions for the paper. You can upload it from your computer. This Cloud Pack is a thing on Brainfuse that you could store documents on. And then you just add comments and you submit it. And then it says, check your message center for a response, usually in 1 day. And that message center is over here. And again, the way you can communicate like this is to have an account. All right, Skills Surfer is a place that you, a student can go, and it doesn't want to show it to me again for some reason. I'm not sure what, but down here below this, I think I'm on Google, maybe I am not. But anyway, There's all kinds of worksheets that a child can do, and they can keep track of what they do, again, if they have an account. All right. And then you can send a question, and there's a language lab for Spanish here. Again, you can get tutoring for Spanish. And down here, this is a vocabulary builder of a sort of game. And we can go in there just so you can see the languages available here. And if we go into Spanish,
El limón,
it goes through
el kiwi,
the pronunciation. And as you can see, there's lots of subjects here. All right, so that's fun. And let's keep going. Leap is a place that teachers can post lessons and things on here. And Brainwave is a place that you can actually, for your tutoring session, you can record it. And Flashbulb is a place for flashcards. Get some flashcards. And Meet is a place where you can actually set up a meeting and have a collaborative thing going on with other students. Brainfuse also has information for adult learners here in this tab. And as you can see, there's preparation for citizenship test, Microsoft Office help, career help, resume help, all kinds of things here. So Brainfuse, there's a lot here. And also, I should have said at the very beginning that you can translate it into Spanish or French up at the top right here. And also English Canada, which, yeah, I don't understand, but they're very good at saying when they're going to be unavailable because of holidays. Yesterday, this said something about Veterans Day, and here it is already switched to Thanksgiving. So they're very on top of that. Again, over here, you would keep tests here. And I should, let's see. Those are tests, like there are tests for SAT help and ACT. I'm not sure. I actually don't go into the high school area that much, but all those kinds of things would be stored in here if you were going through some of those tests. And that would be in the Skills Surfer if I could show it to you, and I don't know why it's not help. Let me just do one more thing. See if I can get, really wanted to show, it still doesn't want to show. So I'm not sure what is going on with Brainfuse today. And that is Brainfuse Help now. And again, you can find it in lots of different places. Now, another place I wanted to show you is Tumble Books. Tumble Books lives in the eLibrary. It also is over in PPLD PPLD Kids. And so let's just go into eLibrary. It's the easiest way to find Tumble Books. This is for young children, again, elementary children. You put in your card number. That's all you need. You don't need a PIN. And this is a place, and they have new books, things to highlight here. This is a place for animated books for kids. Let me just go into one here to show you what that would look like. There's lots more on here, but I wanted to first show you what it looks like.
While riding his tricycle one morning, Bob rolled over a big rock and broke one of his wheels. Ouch! 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 Oh no! I need my wrench to fix it, Bob said to himself. But where did I put it? He looked in his toolbox. No wrench there. He looked in the tool shed. No wrench there either. He looked on his workbench. Still, no wrench.
Okay. So that was reading an animated book online. As you can see, though, there's a quiz related to this book, and there's a book report template that your child could use if they needed to write a report. On the other side here are details about the author and the book level, and Accelerated Reader is a program schools participate in. So that is an example of an animated book. In storybooks, these are mostly animated books. Some of them are actually videos. I'm not sure why they're produced a little differently, but they all have that help that you saw the words being lit up as the narrator was talking. Whether it's a video or an online book, it does have that help there that the child can either turn on or off. In read-alongs, I wanted to show you the books get a little harder, chapter books. And as we go down, they're actually, there are some classics down here. So let me just go into Anne of Green Gables so you can see what this looks like. And as you can see, it's something you can read on your computer or a tablet. And there are text options here in case you wanted to change the text size or the spacing of the text or the font of the text. All right. And that's read-alongs. And ebooks are just scanned books. And there's also more classics at the bottom here. Okay, graphic novels. Just show you what that looks like. Yep, it's the book. And there's also nonfiction. I won't go into there, but it's the same thing. Videos. These videos are by Animal Logic, and they're very good. Some of them are maybe 5 minutes long, some of them 15 minutes long, but I thought they were cool. And then language learning, there's some Spanish, French books here. Playlists are things that you could make or use if you wanted your child to sit and look at maybe 3 items in a row. And then puzzles and games are available at the end here. This site also can be translated into French or Spanish. That being said, it doesn't change the books being in English, but there is that language learning section that does have the Spanish and French books. And I should say that these are always available. These are not anything you check out and keep for a while. They're just always living here on Tumble Books. And let's see if I covered everything. I believe I did. All right, so that was Tumble Books. There's one last place I wanted to show you, and that's Culturegrams. And this is just a great database for students who are doing maybe a country or a state report. Let's go into the World Edition. And I'm going to click on a country. Oh, Sudan. And all the countries have the same format. And so you see, you can select a map, either an outline if your child wants to fill it in, or these other options here, and you can print out a PDF. There's an infographic. You can hear the official name, the anthem. There's a flag to color yourself or to print out. And then the country data. And this is updated a couple times a year. On the right side here, you could print out the full PDF of this report. It would be about 17 pages. There's a photo gallery that you can use any of the photos in there, and videos, slideshows ready-made for a presentation. There's interviews from people who live in the country. In this case, a 12-year-old child. And I'm going to just switch to this tab up here. And there is recipes. You'd find your country and find a recipe, and flags and graphs and tables. You can actually compare countries and input the information you want to compare, and it'll do it for you. All right. Going back to our Sudan. Let's see, where did it go? There it is. On the left side are all the information about that would be included in a possible report. So there's a lot going on here. At the very, very bottom, I wanted to point out some teaching activities here. It's just a long PDF of resources for you and broken down by grades. And it's a very, very long PDF. All right, that kind of hides down there. Let's see, I believe that is everything I wanted to show you. The only thing, this is the World Edition I went into. You can also switch easily to the Kids Edition, which looks just a little different. And yeah, it's just similar but different. You can listen to all these articles as well, in case that's easier. You can download and you can translate. So those are the features of Culturegrams. And now I will hand it over to Michaela.
Hello, thanks, Betty. So I'm going to share my screen now. And so I am I'm with Young Adult Services. So I am with I work primarily with our young adults aged 12 through 24. So everything that I am going to show you all is going to be really geared towards that age group. So I'm actually going to take you all through the teens page. If you go here under services and then hit PPLD teens. This is where most of our resources for our young adults are going to be. But again, I think we've all tried to demonstrate too that there are many different ways to access our different resources through PPLD.org. So first, I want to talk a little bit about our homework guide for teens. And so this is a LibGuide, not dissimilar to the Homeschool Hub, but this is curated resources for help for young adult homework specifically. You can access Brainfuse through this LibGuide as well, because that is also going to be a useful resource for all of your older teens and college students. But what I really want to talk about is our database. Our databases are a curated list of databases. They're all here and organized by subject. And specifically, I want to talk about our in-context databases. So we have a bunch of, the vendor is Gale, that a bunch of databases that look very similar and operate in the same way. So if you see anything on here that says in context, so US history in context, for instance, world history, biography, and opposing viewpoints, those are all going to be in context databases. The only outlier that doesn't share that name is actually the Literature Resource Center here. But I'm going to go into opposing viewpoints. And if you're accessing from home, if you're not logged in, it will have you log in with your library card number. But these are some of our more intuitive databases. So they're going to look a little bit cleaner and more intuitive for your youth to use. And Opposing Viewpoints is a database that curates a list of issues of interest and sort of covers those issues from all sides. So it's a really holistic, comprehensive look at a bunch of different world issues, anything that you might imagine. Actually, if you hit this Browse Issues button, it will pull up this massive list of everything that this database covers. So if your student is doing a research project, for instance, and they have no idea where to start, this is a really good place to start because it'll give them a bunch of different ideas about what they might be able to write their research project on. I talk about this database a lot in schools because it's really useful for your like late middle, early high school students who are just starting into the research process. So there's this massive list, but if you go back to the home page and you have an idea of what you want to search for, this search button is going to be a good tool. So say social media is an example I use a lot because it's kind of a hot button topic right now. So when you search for a specific topic, you will come to this landing page and it will give you an overview of the topic or the issue. And then it will organize all of your sources by type, basically. So viewpoints are going to be the articles or resources that come at the issue usually with a specific bias. So with a very specific viewpoint. Reference texts are going to be very informative, textual or factual, but there are also infographics, statistics reports, primary sources, if that exists for the issue, images, videos, and also audio files that cover the topic. So these are really good for a large variety of different research. Academic journals, news articles are also pulled in here. And there are ways to narrow the topic as well. So say you want to search for social media, but you also know that it's going to take way too long for your student to search through 2,362 academic journals. So there are different ways to narrow your search, and one that I really want to highlight is if you go to this advanced search button and you hit this topic finder, this is going to give you a visualization of different topics and the amount of resources within them. So say, for instance, you type in social media. Again, you'll get a visualization of how many sort of subcategories of resources are covered within that broader topic. So say your student wants to research social media and its impacts on mental health. If they hit this mental health button, that will immediately do another breakdown. And so they can narrow their search further to really curate the resources that are useful to them, but then results will also pull up over here on the side as well. That will be useful and cover both social media and mental health, if that kind of makes sense. And this is true with all of the topics covered. So say your student has found a resource that they want to use in their paper, and we'll just click on this one here. This is what your basic article in Opposing Viewpoints or any of the in context in context databases is going to look like. It will give you the full text of the article with especially depending on the method you use to search, it will highlight your search terms, which is super helpful. And then there are different ways to figure out whether to kind of optimize the content for research projects and for students. So you can translate the article into many different languages. So useful for our Spanish and French speakers, but there's also simplified and traditional Chinese, Finnish. All of these languages are available for translation. And then we have some other accessibility tools here to make it again, to optimize it for your students. So you can increase or decrease font size. You can also change the display options to make it easier to read. So there's a dyslexic font, there's a sans serif font. You can change the line and letter spacing. You can also change the background color to really make it useful for your students. And then you can also listen to it. It will automatically start playing, so I'm not going to press this button, but if you do press this button, there will be a screen reader that you can use as well for those that would prefer to listen. So those are some of the accessibility tools. Some of the other things that are useful are these organizational tools over here. So you can directly send articles to your students' Google Drive. It will pop up and have you and immediately have, I think I'm logged in. So if your student is already logged into Google, it will populate there. You can also send it to Microsoft OneDrive, email it to yourself, download it straight from this page, or you can print it out as well. Another useful feature is this citation tool. So all citations are automatically populated in this database. If you hit that button up there, the database cites everything in MLA, APA, Chicago, and Harvard. So students don't have an excuse not to provide citations for their works cited pages. And then you can also export the citations to Google, OneDrive, EasyBib if that is what your student prefers. But you can select it and copy paste it if you need to. These citations also exist at the bottom of the article as well, if you miss that button up at the top. This Explore section here is also going to lead pretty automatically to other resources that might be relevant for whatever search terms you're using or whatever topic you're interested in. It will also provide related subjects. And right here, under the document type and content level, this is going to be a good way for students to figure out what resources are going to be for them, essentially. So all of the articles are, I believe, rated on a scale, on a content level scale 1 through 5. 3 through 5 is really going to be useful for your older students. 4s and 5s definitely for high school, 3s and 4s for middle school. And that will just give them a sense of how difficult the article is going to be to read. You can also, if you prefer, there are permalinks here, so you can come back to articles later. If you prefer not to download or email or export articles to your Google Drive. And then there's a highlights and notes feature as well. So for instance, if your student clicks on something and they want to add a highlight and then add a note, if they save it, they can come back to it later. So this is a really good way to, in the database while they're reading, take notes on what might be useful for their papers as well. So that is a little bit about opposing viewpoints in context. And very quickly, I just want to show you too, going back to our database page, this Literature Resource Center is another one of the in context databases. And I just want to give you a sense, it looks the same and the features are very, very similar. This database is just curated for literature resources and will be good for book reports and literary criticism, any information, biographical information on authors, if that's something that they need, those kinds of things. So, and all of the in-context databases are going to, again, have the same features. So, okay. The next thing that I want to talk about is actually our, I'm going to go back to the homepage. And I think we're going to go to educator. Oh, nope, standardized test prep. So back on the homework help guide, the next database that I want to talk you guys through is our Peterson's test prep database, and that's going to be under standardized test prep. Like Betty mentioned, Help Now Brainfuse does have testing resources available through there, but I wanted to let you guys know about Peterson's as well. So that link is right here. It might make me log in. It did not. Excellent. So this is going to be a really useful resource for all of your students and their standardized testing needs, especially those high school students going through the ACTs, SATs, things like that. This title list button will bring up a scary PDF of all of the resources, of all of the testing resources available to you. So all of the practice tests, it covers standardized tests in school, but it also covers college level entrance exams, things like the ASVAB, nursing tests as well, and then also high school equivalency tests. So if you want to know if the test you need to take is covered or the test your student needs to take is covered, this is a really good way to find that. It also goes through whether the test has been updated recently. It will go through, it lists the last content update and then also lists whether the test will have a multimedia component like the TSA does. So that's a really good, useful tool for if you need to know if your test is covered. And then you can also search for a specific test and it will get you to any link that is helpful for your students here as well, including practice tests, online courses that prepare them for the tests, ebooks, and not sure what word keys is, but yeah, it's a fun page to explore. I know I'm going a little fast because I know we're almost at time and I still have a lot to go over. But other features of this database, there's an improve your score section. So if they have already taken the test and they know they need to improve their score in something in order to get into college or for whatever reason, they can go through these courses as well. There's also scholarship and college planning information in this database as well. I point high school seniors to the college and scholarship search quite often. So this is also a good tool to explore. And then there are career tools as well. So how to create a resume, career advice for those students that might not be going to college or those high school students that are looking to go into the workforce while they're in high school. And again, some vocational test prep as well. So we like to let you guys know that that is here. And now, again, sorry, I'm going a little fast. We're going to go through a couple other databases as well. So the next thing that I will quickly show you is a database that we have here at the library called Novelist. Novelist is going to be helpful for anyone who is wanting to find their next read for themselves or for their student, if that is necessary. So Novelist is basically a repository for books and it connects books to each other and creates read-alike lists and is a really good way to search for, again, your next read. So if you search for something, Anne of Green Gables, for instance, Novelist will pull up a record of the novel. It pulled up the graphic novel immediately, but here is the original publication, Anne of Green Gables. And if you click on the record, It categorizes everything. The records include tags that categorize books into different genres and also based on appeal. So it's categorized characters as likable and spirited, which definitely describes Anne, if any of you are familiar with this book. And then we'll also set the tone and give you a minimum or a maximum grade level as well. And it will also, if your students are needing to read something at a particular lexile level or are in AR in any capacity, accelerated reader, it will give you those recommendations too. It also compiles other formats, interestingly, for things like this. And over here on the right-hand side, there are suggested read-alikes. So if your child really liked Anne of Green Gables and you're struggling to find something else that might appeal to them, Novelist is a really good way to find other things that are similar to Anne of Green Gables and that might appeal. I'm also going to go into another record to show you something else. So again, I'm more of I have a young adult focus, so I know the most about young adult literature. Shadow and Bone has been floating around quite a bit lately, but this Novelist will also, if reviews about the book exist, Novelist will also pull reviews from a variety of different review sources and compile them all for you right here. So you can read a little bit about the book and decide whether it is a good fit for you and your student before checking it out. Novelist also links to the catalog. So if you hit view copies available, if you hit the go to catalog button, that will take you straight to PPLD's catalog. So you can place a hold on the book, figure out how many copies are actually available for your student to check out, those kinds of things. So that's Novelist. Oh, actually, one more thing with Novelist. If you are, this search for more feature is also really interesting. So if your student has read one of these novels and again is looking for a read alike and nothing over on the right hand side here is helpful, you can also use these check boxes to select the tags that are interesting to your student. So say they really like books to TD with world building storylines. If you select a couple of those and hit search, it will pull up additional records of things that might appeal, again, that might not have been exactly connected to Shadow and Bone. So that's another way to search for things. And then you can also refine your results over here with these search limiters. So if you're only looking for things for students, or for your student, for kids or for teens, you can select these things and also refine by genre, and then it will automatically pull all of those for you. And that's a really good way to search for additional titles as well. Okay. So Novelist, I know we are about at time. Are we okay to go into eLibrary resources, Joy? I can't actually see you. I can
Oh,
only
sorry.
see that.
Yes, I think you
Okay.
could definitely do that.
Perfect. Okay. So real quick, we're going to go back to PPLD.org. And we touched on the eLibrary earlier, but I wanted to give you a couple other resources that are, I love them. I love these very dearly. So we're going to do some eLibrary highlights. So if by clicking on this eLibrary button on the homepage, this will pull up all of our digital catalog selections basically. And the ones that I'm going to go over are Overdrive, and then I'll give you some information about Freegle, Hoopla, and also Canopy, because those are really fun for youth. I get a lot of traction out of talking about these in schools with students. So first is Overdrive. And this is our biggest repository of ebooks and e-audiobooks. The cool thing about Overdrive is that there is an app that you can download to your smartphones or to your tablets and access all of these items from anywhere. So if you download Libby, this is the app here, it is Libby, available through the Apple App Store or on Google Play or the iOS, iOS is Apple. or on Android devices, you can search for borrow and read or listen to books straight through that app on your device. You can also do it in your web browser. And I'm just going to show you real quick what that might look like. I am logged into my account up here, but if you are interested in something, say your teen would like something for Veterans Day, and they see that this book, Boots on the Ground, is available as an audiobook, if you just hit borrow and then borrow one more time, it will automatically populate into your catalog or into your loans, excuse me. And you'll be able to read it directly from here, or if you have the app downloaded, it will immediately populate in your app on Libby as well. You don't have to worry about return times with Overdrive either. If the book is nearing its limit and it is time to return it, it will automatically return it for you. So that's one of the cool things about Overdrive. And again, biggest repository of ebooks and e-audiobooks. There's also a pretty large selection of magazines in Overdrive as well. So we like to make sure that you all are aware of that. You can use the search feature to find things that you might like to read, or we've curated lists of books depending on national initiatives, like November is Hunger and Homelessness Prevention Month and those kind of things. No, we're just gonna do this. Okay, so Freeting is another repository of ebooks. There are no e-audiobooks on here, but the cool thing about Freeting is that it is, I believe there are no holds list. All of these are immediately available. You just have to log in to download them. So if there's a wait list on Overdrive, checking Freeting is a really good option as well. And then Freegle is e-music. So Freegle is Sony's entire music catalog. And one of the best features with this is every user, every person with a library card is able to download 5 songs per week that they can keep forever. So you don't have to give them back at all. You can build up your music library with songs from Freegle, 5 songs per week, completely free. And then there's also 8 hours of streaming capability. So you can, if you've maxed out your downloads for the week, you can also continue to stream music through this site as well. Again, it's Sony's catalog, so it's not everything, but there is some pretty good stuff on here. And then PPLD has also curated a variety of playlists, one for kids and one for teens, for instance, that might have music that appeal to your youth. Okay. Hoopla is one of my favorite resources here. With Hoopla, you do have to log into your account. I am apparently already logged in, but Hoopla is a repository of ebooks, e-audiobooks, graphic novels, and comic books, as well as music, movies, and television. So it is kind of a catch-all. There is a lot of stuff in Hoopla. It is very, very fun to go through. And the great thing about Hoopla is that everything is available all the time. There's no wait list. The only caveat is that you do have 10 checkouts per month. So you do want to be strategic that way. But for instance, Ed Sheeran's new album is already out on Hoopla. So if you hit borrow, you can borrow title and then listen at your leisure. Hoopla also has an app that you can download to smartphones, tablets, and also smart TVs for those streaming features. For those of you with younger folks, you can also turn on this Hoopla Kids version, and it will filter out content that you might not want your kids to see. And this is what that looks like. So if you turn kids mode on, that might be helpful for some of the younger folks. And then last thing is Canopy. So We also have a way for you to stream movies. In addition to Hoopla, Canopy is another feature we have where you can, oh, I immediately went to Canopy Kids. Cool. This is movie streaming. So in young adult services, when we pitch this to students in high schools and middle schools, we like to call it fancy or classy Netflix, because there are a lot of art house films. I'm going to see if I can get back to the homepage. Exit Canopy Kids. There are a lot of art house films, a lot of documentaries, a lot of award winners. It will also tell you what has been newly added. Like Netflix, things kind of come and go at seemingly random times, but you'll always be updated about what is coming and going. And then if you turn on Canopy Kids, that again will filter out all of the things that might not be appropriate for younger folks. And if you search for things, we also have something called the Great Courses through Canopy, which are informational series and kind of, courses on anything from history and literature to like hobbies. And you'll see some of these lists here. And I believe, again, like Hoopla, everything is readily available for you. There are no holds lists or anything, but you do have a limited number of items that you can check out per month. I believe it's 5 for Canopy, but if you hit watch, you'll be able to watch it immediately. And again, also like Hoopla, there's an app that you can download to phones, tablets, and your smart TV, so you can stream that way as well. And I think that's it for me.
I have to say, I feel like I know these things, but I always learn so much more when I hear people go a little bit more deeply into these resources. That was a lot of information, and I want to thank you both so much for providing that. If any of you had any questions, if you'd like to type them in the chat, please, you could do that now. I know it was a lot of information, and I think the best thing to do is really grab your library card and like sign into some of these resources and explore them. I know there are for like accessing and downloading Overdrive or the Libby app, for example, there are some documents that help you work through that process that you can also access through the website. So there are some resources there. And of course, we're always available for any questions. I just want to put up very briefly our contact information while I'm giving you a minute to I am not having luck today. Well, I'm giving you a minute to put questions in. So again, those are our emails. If you'd like to direct a question at anyone, or you could, of course, email me and I can certainly try and answer it. Okay. Okay. Did that share or?
No, it hasn't.
I am just not having luck today. Let me try it one more time. All right. How does that look?
It looks great.
All right. So I am not seeing any questions in the chat. Shelby, did you have any?
So we just got one.
Okay, yay.
Is Brainfuse only for students, or is it general public resource with an account?
Yes, it's for anybody who wants to use it. There is the tab for the adult learners that's at the top, but mainly students, but definitely a lot for adults. There's Job Now is what it's called, but it's in the adult learner section.
Okay. And for example, as an adult, you could send a resume in to get help with that, right? So just as a quick example. Right. So that's a great question. Let me stop my share. Okay. I think is that the last question then?
I think so.
Okay, well, thank you for those who joined us today. We appreciate you sticking in. It was a lot of information coming at you. So please do email if you have any questions. And I will post the link when we put this recording up. I will send you that. So if you want to go back and review anything, you could definitely do that. Okay, so thanks so much, everybody. Appreciate all the great information, Betty and Michaela and all the management, Shelby. So thanks a lot.